Mental health is a thing. It has always been a thing. But because we've stigmatized it so much, we have kind of buried it.
When I was approached to make this series, I felt a tremendous responsibility. To be honest, I think I felt plainly intimidated. But why? Why is mental health so hard to talk about? Doesn't everybody have it? Why does even myself, an artsy-fartsy creative type who regularly puts himself out there through music and film, feel intimidated to talk about mental health? Frankly, I think this is one of the reasons why this series is important. So what is this series? This is a look into some deep and heavy things, a multi-dimensional exploration into mental health through the lens of the community Hinton, Alberta. These 6 episodes will touch on trauma, safety, children and youth services, employment, the arts, and self-expression, to name a few things. These episodes are mostly developed from a handful of interviews with Hintonites, or in my case, a former Hintonite. We made this for you, and we hope it helps.
First and foremost, I hope it helps people understand that we all have mental health, every one of us. If you have a brain, you have mental health. It's not just the other person's problem. Recognizing that you don't have to have a diagnosed mental illness to not be well, versus people with diagnosed mental illnesses can have very, very productive lives. Those are the things that we have to have a better understanding of, not just in rural communities, but everywhere. All of us, no matter who we are, can have down days.
The concept Charlene is referring to is the difference between languishing and flourishing. If you take the most sane, well-rounded, mentally well individual and throw them into hellish circumstances, it's very understandable that they may find obstacle to being mentally well. And you can take someone who suffers with a serious mental disorder who nevertheless flourishes within a good environment. It's not cut and dry. So what do we know about good mental health? What areas of life contribute to good overall mental health?
There's 8 domains for good mental health. Basic needs, services in a community, protecting your cultural way of life, the environment around you, your social connections and relationships, building well-being, so creating the conditions for all of us to thrive. Lifespan development, so that's understanding what the changes in our bodies and our brains that happen over a lifespan, so having a good idea of that. And then of course securing a livelihood. So when a community when a person is missing a number of one of those 8 domains, it can affect how they're feeling. If a community has a number of those weaknesses, then that's going to collectively affect the well-being of that community.
According to the Mental Health Commission of Canada, people in Canada's rural areas experience on average lower life expectancy, poorer health in general, are less likely to have their healthcare needs met, and have higher suicide rates.
The great thing about living in a small community is that everybody knows everybody. The really bad thing about living in a small community is that everybody knows everybody. And so I think we tend to not want our community to know when we're struggling, which comes back full circle to stigma.
The Commission goes a step further than stigma, citing that in rural communities, cases of extremely poor mental health can result from isolation, less access to mental health services, issues of confidentiality, and in their words, being socialized to be more independent and self-reliant. While it's clear to most everyone that independence and self-determination are good things and important qualities to have, it just seems that from the data, it can definitely be taken too far, rendering people who are suffering less likely to reach out to others when they need help. I bring this up to accurately show the challenge in communities like Hinton, because if we don't understand the problem, there's simply no hope for a solution. The point of this series is to ultimately increase Hinton's capacity for better mental health, and by consequence, to inspire other communities that are similar to diagnose and increase their own capacities.
The project was an opportunity for us as a community to figure out what our strengths are, because so often we focus on what the weaknesses are in a small community, and it can be as simple as recognizing that the wonderful space we have around our community or in our community, the green spaces, the beaver boardwalk trails, those things we don't necessarily think of as mental health support systems, but they are. There are natural support systems. And so this project for me was an opportunity to help people understand that there are lots of different ways you can help yourself feel better. And also an opportunity for us to help people understand that we are more than just our physical selves, that mental health is every bit as important as a physical health. You can't really have one without the other.